Let's talk the cut. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk the cut. Woo!
Good evening, everybody. Hey, it's Cutler here on the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast. It is the 5th of October. Happy birthday to my oldest niece. And I just threw that in there. Whether she watches the live or catches the replay, I'm not sure. But anyway, it is her birthday. And I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful for another 1,800 seconds that we get to spend together. I'm thankful that we get the chance to try to inspire each other, try to motivate each other. And you may not be so happy about this, but I do like the fact that we get a chance to try and challenge each other to make sure that we show up better today than we did yesterday, make sure that we are intentional about showing up better tomorrow than we did today, and making sure that all things considered, we are doing our best to show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations, because they come. They it's just a part of life. Sometimes the worst situations, the bad situations, they come, they show up, they knock on your door, they sometimes pull up in a limousine. They drop down on parachutes. They just happen, and we have to make sure we have to make sure that we're doing what we can to show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. And when you're showing up your best self, show up authentic, show up organic, show up as only you can, show up genuine. You can't be anybody else but you. I know that we talk a lot and we spend time in dialogue and conversations, but the truth of the matter is this, you all, and I'm just it's just I just feel the press to share this. Showing up your best self in the worst of situations means showing up as you. Don't try to show up like anybody else. You can think about how somebody would respond, how somebody can react, but ultimately it's up to you how you're going to respond. And you have to show up genuine in the moment. You have to show up organic in the moment. You have to show up unique in the moment. You have to show up as you in the moment. We might talk about that a little bit. We might talk about it, but I want to do a shout out to the LTTC VIPs, the people who jumped in the chat. I see that you're logging in. I see that you're logging on. So come on over to the chat, say hi so that I can see you. Meanwhile, I want to invite people who are stopping by for the very first time. If this is your first time, again, you know that we're talking about inspiration and motivation and challenges. Again, people don't like the challenges, but we need those to make ourselves better, to find ourselves becoming stronger and wiser and more victorious. We need those challenges in our life. I need them every single day. It is the challenge that makes me better. It is a challenge that makes me push. So again, I want to talk about this evening how to look on the bright side, how to meet on the bright side. How to meet on the how to look on the bright side of things, because there is so much negativity out there. There's so much pessimism. There's so much things that will cause us to, it will distract us. And I want to talk about being intentional and deliberate about what you focus on. It makes a world of difference. So I want to talk about how to look on the bright side. But before I do, again, if somebody's stopping by for the first time and they're catching the replay for the first time, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. After you subscribe, click on the notification bell, because it lets you know whenever I've gone live, like I am now, or whenever I have uploaded new content. That subscription, that notification bell is somewhere down there, depending on your device. It's either somewhere down there, somewhere up there, over there, or over there. So make sure that you click on it. And then let me just look over here in the chat and see who is first. The first three people that I see on my end, you all, on my end, I see Linda Martin, Hattie Boone, and Marissa. So happy Tuesday evening to all of you all. Happy Tuesday evening. What are you thinking about? Cutler, it's Thursday already. Happy Thursday evening to you all. It is the 5th of October. Oh my goodness. It is, yeah. The week is moving on. We're just in the month. Yeah, so happy Thursday to you all. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Now I'll tell you, one of the reasons I decided to share this topic is because you know how social media, if you have these different social media accounts, and they will, one in particular will let you know if well, not even this particular. Well, yeah, some social media accounts will say, "Oh, here's a memory from what was going on last year." If you have certain phones, certain kinds of phones, those phones will also categorize your pictures and will say, "Oh, here's some pictures from this time last year." Well, I picked up my camera today and I was just swiping through my pictures, and I got to the segment where it says pictures from this time last year. And I looked at some of the pictures from this time last year, and I looked at a celebration that was given in my honor, and there were some wonderful people there. And this is just a year ago. This is just a year ago. There were some wonderful people there. And I looked at these pictures, some pictures in particular, and just a year ago, and some of those people are no longer here. Just a year ago, some of those people are no longer here. We laughed that evening. We shared stories. We hugged and embraced. We enjoyed each other's company. We did all of those things that friends do. And today I was hit with the reminder that they are no longer here. That they are no longer here. And some of those things, you all, some of those things can drain you. Those thoughts can drain you. Those realities can drain you. And you have to force yourself to look on the bright side of life, or otherwise you are pulled into a space where you don't necessarily want to go, but you're pulled into that space. And that was the space where I was heading today. And I just had to tell myself, no, bounce back. It does not mean that I didn't feel the pain or the loss or any of that, because I did and I still do. But it meant that I there was a space that I did not necessarily wanted. There's a space that I did not necessarily want to go to. And so I had to say to myself, all right, count the grateful moments, count the moments that made you smile, count the pleasant memories. And I really had to say that. Well, on a larger scale, I think, how many times do we have to talk ourselves out of negativity and out of negative moments and out of pessimism and out of pessimistic moments and out of just not so good moments? How many times do we have to talk ourselves out of those? Every time we turn on the news, and I'll get to the topic, I promise I will. Every time we turn on the news, there's something bad, there's something negative. There was a shooting, there was this, there was that. Just this week, early this week, one of my dear friends, her father was the victim of a three-person homicide in a neighborhood in Philadelphia. There were four people were shot, but three of them were killed. So her father was one of the three killed in this three-people homicide. If you're in the Philly area, if you have national news, you might look, you might be able to find it. But just senseless and incredible. And then the perpetrator it had an encounter with the police right after that, and he was shot and killed. So four people were killed, but the perpetrator shot four victims, but he killed only three. The fourth one survived and was able to tell the story and identify him. So the police attempted to apprehend him, but then ended up shooting and killing him. Nonetheless, negative, just bad news, just bad news. Morgan State University in Baltimore, a shooting in the midst of homecoming, young people trying to enjoy homecoming activities, and there was a shooting. There's just bad news, negative news. We have and some people may not necessarily consider this bad news, but when you have political people ousted out of positions, and you have the threat of government shutdowns and the storms and just all of this stuff happening, you really have to be deliberate and focus on the bright side. When people say, oh, look to the bright side, learn how to encourage yourself, look for good, look for all of that. We have to be intentional about those things. And that's what I want to talk about this evening. That's what I want to share this evening, how to look on the bright side. Great topic. Just today, the parcel key did not work. I met a new neighbor while we fought with the parcel box. Yeah, so let's look on the bright side. Let's absolutely look on the bright side of things, because there's something good about looking on the bright side. Who wants to always look on the negative side of things? Because when we're faced with life challenges, you have to ask yourself, am I the kind of person who always looks on the bright side? Or do I look on the negative side? Do I usually see the glass half full? Or do I see the glass half empty? As much as we all wish we could find the silver lining in every situation all the time, it's impossible. It is impossible. We don't always find the silver lining all the time. We want to, we try to, but we don't always find the silver lining all the time. So in a world where you turn on the news and there's bad news, there's violence, there's injustice, there's despair, there's sadness, there's death, and it seems to be everywhere according to these news reports, according to the news on TV, according to social media, according to news on the radio, according to the news that people bring to our houses, it becomes easier to expect bad news. It becomes easier to expect bad situations rather than good ones. And it takes a lot of effort to remain positive in a world like that. It takes right, Linda. We have to be intentional about focusing on the good, because when we are inundated with all of these bad things or bad news from all of these outlets, and I get it. No one is exempt from life's difficulties, but we have to choose to focus on the good, you all. We have to be intentional about focusing on the good, so that way we can remain hopeful that better days are coming, that the bad does not always endure. We have to choose, we have to be deliberate, we have to be intentional about focusing on the good. You all know that you've probably heard more bad news today than you've heard good. But Cutler, why is it important to focus on the good? One of the reasons it's important to focus on the good and to be intentional about focusing on the good is because it helps you to better adjust and adapt to stressful situations in life. If I learn how to focus on the good more often, then when the bad shows up, I know how to adapt. I know how to adjust. And I don't know about some of us, I don't know about some of you, and I'm just only offering this as food for thought this evening. But for me, focusing on the good, it helps with my mental resilience. It really does. It helps me, it helps in those moments where I would otherwise, as I was saying earlier today, it helps me in those moments where I would otherwise get pulled into that space where I don't necessarily want to go. So focusing on the good more often helps me in my mental resilience. And the truth of the matter is, the study has been shown and conducted to show that really focusing on the good news, it really helps with with your physical state, whether it's your immune system or whatever it is. But focusing on good helps to keep you. It offers you a healthier body. It really does. You don't have as much stress. You don't have as much anxiety. You're less prone to end up with cardiovascular situations. I mean, listen. Let's learn how to focus on the good. It is important to focus on the good. Why is it important to focus on the good? If it's important to focus on the good, then why is it important not to focus on the bad? That's the thing. Because there is a downside to focusing on the bad. Let's say the good was I met a new walk buddy. I won't focus on I can't obtain my passion. The very good, McDonald. I like that. Because sometimes we are faced with equal opposite situations. And we choose, I told you all this about how I respond that makes a difference. We choose to respond one way or another. We choose to focus on one over the other. In McDinah's situation today, she said she focused because they couldn't get the parcel box open. And so she and her neighbor were fighting with the parcel box, trying to get over. They weren't fighting each other. They were fighting, trying to get the parcel box open. But she met a new neighbor. And she said the good was that she met a new walk buddy, a new walk mate, but she didn't focus on the fact that she couldn't obtain a package and couldn't get the parcel open. There's a downside to dwelling on the bad. And it is normal for us to feel overwhelmed at times. It's normal for us to feel discouraged at times. It's normal for us to feel sad at times. It's normal for us to even feel devastated, defeated at times. It's normal for us to feel disgusted at times. It's normal for us to feel discouraged at times. It's normal for us to have all of those feelings at some point, at some time, but it is not a good idea to dwell on there. It's not a good idea to dwell on them. Yes, we all feel them. I am not so disillusioned as to think that we don't encounter those moments. That's just what's called life. But one of the things that I do know, I've read it in studies and I've experienced it, is that when you focus on the bad, when you focus on the negative, when you focus on pessimism, one of the things that's going to happen is that you're more likely to have anxiety and depression and discouragement and all of those things. You're less likely to be motivated. It's more difficult to inspire you. That's the downside of dwelling on bad situations. That's the downside of seeing the glass half empty. That is the downside of focusing on negativity all the time. That's the downside of expecting the worst all the time. Really, you all, we need to work on that, because expecting the worst could end up having a negative impact or detrimental effects on our physical health. It really, really can. So, Cutler, what are you suggesting? Do you come to us tonight with any ideas, any helpful hints or tips? Of course, you know I do. One of the things that we need to do, I say it all the time, you all, we need to practice gratitude. Today, while looking at those pictures of those two lovely ladies who are no longer in my life in less than a year, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I had to swallow, and I had to inhale, and I had to exhale, I had to breathe. I'm telling y'all, that was not just me being dramatic, but that was the truth of the situation. This is less than a year. And I was so thankful that they were part of my life. And what did I have to do in that moment just today? What did I have to do? I had to stop and practice gratitude. That although they are not here in the physical, I had to be thankful of the days that we spent laughing, of the days that we spent sharing smiles and stories, all of those things. I had to force myself and tell myself, no, think of the good things. McDina, I just shared that same passage with someone yesterday evening. Because when you intentionally identify things to be grateful for every day, you're making an inventory of the goodness that's around you. Marissa, I'll check my email right after this. I sure will. When we intentionally identify the things to be grateful for each day, we are creating an inventory of goodness all around us. So if you're going through, take it from me today, if you're going through one of the toughest seasons of your life, if you're going through a tough season, try to be grateful. It might sound ridiculous. Yes, I get that. Cutler, that sounds crazy. That sounds, it sounds counterintuitive. I know it does. I know it sounds ridiculous. But in a ridiculous world, learn to do some ridiculous things. Because there are plenty of things for us to be thankful for. I had to be thankful for memories today. The ability, the fact that I could cherish some memories. So it's about practicing gratitude. I had to be thankful for those moments of kindness that they showed toward me when they were still here. I had to be thankful for those moments when they gave me their ear when I just needed an ear to listen, or a shoulder to cry on, or someone to vent, or some way to bounce my thoughts, someplace to bounce my thoughts. I had to be thankful for all of that. And I had to be intentional about that in a space that didn't seem and feel so intentional. Mm. So let's learn. Let's learn to integrate more gratefulness into our daily routine. Let's be deliberate about integrating gratefulness and gratitude into the course of our everyday practice. I'm telling you. Because if I had to ask you, let me see how many of you all are over in the chat. Some of you all are still in the chat, and thank you for being with me. I'm thankful for my friends who have shown their support to me. Because Marissa, you're right there, because I was just getting ready to say, I wonder how many of us could identify at the drop of a hat. How many of us could write down at least 3 good things that happened to you today? Things for which you're thankful. How many of us could write down at least 3 good things that happened to us today? I tell you what, if you all write them in a moment, then I'll go back and I'll just start reading them, because I just want to share that we are building a goodness inventory. If you write down the things for which you are grateful, you're learning to build a goodness inventory all around you. So learn how to write down at least 3 good things that happened to you today. Learn how to practice gratitude. If maybe at the same time every day, and you say to yourself, nothing is going to interrupt my headspace, because this is my gratitude moment. This is my gratitude hour. This is my gratitude time slot. And sometimes some of us may just some of us might need to keep what I call a gratitude journal. I love journals. I have this journal with me. So this might just have to become my gratitude journal. And learn how to put your gratitude journals, once you get them, learn how to put them in a place that's highly visible so that you can see them. So then, in terms of learning how to focus on the good and seeing the bright side and seeing the sunny side of things, learn how to practice gratitude. What are you all thankful for today? Talk to me. Tell me, what are you all thankful for today? And as you're talking about the things that you're thankful for, again, I'm going to read them. I'm going to get to them. I'm going to share them. Let's learn how to build that goodness inventory. One of the things that we can also do is learn how to see the good in other people. Let's learn how to see the good in other people, because there is no shortage of good people in the world. I know we hear about bad news all the time, but there is no shortage of good people in the world. That's why we miss them when they're gone. And yes, there is goodness in humanity. There is goodness in humanity. And I know, I know with the news would cause you to think that good people are rare. But can I tell you that's not true? Good people are everywhere. How do you know? Because you ought to look at yourself and say, I know good people are everywhere, Cutler, because I'm one of them. I'm thankful I have a job. I woke up. I feel great, and my family's well. These are things to be thankful for. Thank you all. Thankful for good friends. Thankful for neighbor who saved my pillow from the storm and returned them, saved my pillow from the storm. Thankful for those things. Thankful for what I accomplished today. Yes, thank you all. So we've built just now an inventory of goodness and things to be thankful for. That's how you focus on the good. And I know sometimes people get on our nerves, sometimes people rub us the wrong way, all of that. But ultimately, you have to ask yourself, does this person add more good to my life? Or do they add more bad things to my life? You have to learn how to see the good in other people, because seeking the good in other people, it will broaden your perspective. It will help you to understand those people around you who don't necessarily share your same views or your values. So look for the good in other people. Look for the good in other people the same way you hope somebody looks for the good in you. You don't want people to see the negative in you. You don't want people to see the badness in you. You don't want people to see the pessimism in you. You don't want people to see your downtrodden attitude. You don't want people to see you feeling downcast. But here is what you do. You do want people to see the good in you. So as you want people to see the good in you, seek to see the good in other people. Because when you strive to see the best in everybody that you encounter, you remind them to see the best in themselves too. I'm looking for the good in you. Look for the good in yourself. Because a lot of times, you all listen, a lot of times people are struggling with so many things. People are struggling with insecurities. People are struggling with self doubt. People are struggling with self identity. And so, having somebody in their life who sees the goodness in them, who sees the potential in them, it could be life changing. Seek to see the good in other people. Because a lot of times, not only are you helping you, but you're helping them. I'm thankful for family, friends, and being able to retire while in good health. Thank God for that, Paula. Absolutely. So let's seek to see the good in people. I'm talking about how to focus on the good, how to see the bright side of things, how to see the good side of things. Then what else do we do, Cutler? Surround yourself with positive people, for crying out loud. That's important. That's key. That's critical. Because birds of a feather flock together. We are social and empathetic beings. And we tend to spend time, we spend the most time with people, or the people that we spend most time with, that they rub off on us. Think about it. To some degree, you are a slight reflection of the people that you spend most of your time hanging around, hanging around and hanging out with. There's a commonality that you have. The people that we spend most time with, they tend to rub off on us. So surround yourself with positive people. Absolutely, Paula, because fun snatchers are draining. Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. No one radiates positive energy all the time. I get that. Even though you all see them on these Tuesdays and Thursdays, I mean, I don't necessarily radiate positive energy all the time. I try, but everybody has bad days. It's spending the time with the people who constantly dwell on the negativity that can be infectious. It can be draining. You said it, Paula, the word is draining. Spending time with people who constantly choose to dwell on negativity and pessimism, it can be draining and it can be infectious. And you end up becoming the same way because you spend a lot of time with them, and you become a product of them, or a byproduct of them. So let's learn to surround yourself with people who try their best to focus on good, who try their best to focus on what's healthy, to try their best to focus on optimistic and optimism, and make sure that they have an optimistic outlook on life. And sometimes when you see these things on the news, you just need to say, nope, 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 I'm changing the channel. Nope, 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 I'm changing the channel, and look for the good news. Look for the wholesome stories. What good happened in the world today? That's what I want to hear about. What's going on good in the world? What is someone doing for their neighbor? What is someone doing for a friend? What random acts of kindness are taking place? How are people helping young folk? How are people taking care of the elderly? Who's going out of their way to be kind? Who's going out of their way to be gracious? Sometimes you've got to look for the good stories, you all. You've got to look for the good news. And what I'm saying is, before your head hits the pillow tonight, look for the good news that has happened today, and write down the good things that have happened in your life, and at least 3 things that you're thankful for. This is going to show you how to focus on the goodness in your life, how to look to the bright side. People always say that you need to look on the bright side, but nobody ever told us how. I'm having that conversation this evening. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. You've got enough goodness in you that you can go find the goodness in the rest of the world. I'm going to stop with that. You've got enough goodness in you to which you can go and find the goodness in the rest of the world. All right? That's what I do. Yeah, sometimes you just when those negative stories keep playing over and over and over and over, you say to yourself, "No, I need to go and find some good news. I need to go and find something positive to dwell on. I need to go and find something that's going to lift me, something that's going to encourage me, something that's maybe not necessarily challenge my sense of social values, but just might be mindless entertainment and may cause me to laugh. Because when you start focusing on the bad, it pulls you down. But we have the option. That's the word I got to go. We have the option to focus on the good. And so I empower us tonight as I close. I empower us to exercise the option to focus on the good. Because how I respond is what matters. Thank you all. Let's keep doing what we do, y'all. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Keep your heads up. Focus on the bright side. Look on the sunny side. Keep your heads up and keep your hopes up. Stay safe, stay sane. Know that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. Until the next time, tell somebody else, come on and let's talk to Cutler, because the man is just trying to help save somebody's life. I'll see y'all the next time I see you. Good night.